big shout out to OneNation. I was an at-risk kid myself growing up, and I know the importance of having people that I look up to, older people, look out for me, people that I felt like that really, really cared about me and did not consider me to be just another nuisance. So big shout out to y'all, man. I respect what y'all doing. Y'all keep doing it. Salute. Growing up in Houston, life for me was insufficient. It was pretty hard, as you can imagine it would be for anybody growing up in an impoverished community. Insufficient living, insufficient income, insufficient love, insufficient clothing, food, et cetera, and cashmere sweater. You dig what I'm saying? It was tough. But the cool thing about it was that it gave me my tenacity that I had. It made me the person that I am in terms of being relentless. You know, some people say, if you hadn't experienced everything that you experienced, you wouldn't be who you are. And I agree, but I would add something to that. Had I had more love, better preparation, had I been in a school where the teachers actually loved doing what they were doing and they had the support of the government, support from the school board, parents, so on and so on, even the students, I probably would be even a better version of myself. So, you know, it was hard, but that's what it was, and that was the road that I had to take to get to where I am. One of the biggest obstacles that I had to figure out how to overcome was conflict resolution. Because I was taught to settle conflict with fist and guns and insults. That's just the way it was. That's what I learned growing up. And I pretty much mastered it for many, many years. And I use it as a defense mechanism to survive. Because oftentimes, if you show any type of weakness growing up in a tough community, people are going to take advantage of it. They're going to roll on it. So you can never show weakness, ever. So there was times when I had to fight guys that I really didn't want to fight. These dudes were bigger than me, much bigger than me. In fact, I very seldom fought a guy that was in my weight class. I typically would fight guys that were 200 plus pounds. And growing up, for most of my teenage years, I was under 165 pounds. But I would consistently beat these dudes because I didn't want to lose. I hated the idea of losing. I didn't want to be talked about. I didn't want to be humiliated. And I just didn't want to be embarrassed. And growing up in Fifth Ward, if you get whooped in Fifth Ward, they're going to let you know. Like, you're not going to be able to lose a fight and people not remind you of it every day. You can be at the burger shop or the burger stand with your buddy, and you can ask him to buy you some French fries, and he can say no, and then you can get mad about it, and he'll be like, "Motherfucker, you ain't say that shit when Lil Rob whooped your ass 2 years ago." That, like, they'll never let you forget it. They'll never let you live it down. So I just always had pride in making sure that nobody embarrassed me. If they did, I made sure that I paid them back 10 times over. And yeah, I remember like fighting these dudes. People used to think that I was just really brave. It was really that I was brave. It was that I was afraid of losing. I just did not want to lose. So being afraid gave me like this like crazy amount of strength where I would like pick dudes up, 250-pound dudes, and pick them up and just slam them to the ground. Like whoop them real good, like convincingly. And I did that because I did not want to lose. So that was a big thing for me, trying to learn how to resolve conflict resolution, trying to get to that point to where I could know how to handle myself. And everything, every situation wasn't really a fight. I realized also that I was putting myself in situations where I really didn't have to be in, and I was fighting when I really didn't have to fight. It's like if you go to a place that you know that people are rowdy and people don't really know how to behave, people don't really know how to act civilized, that's really not smart to do. But when you're young, you feel like that's what happens is, that's where everybody's hanging out, I'm going to hang out. And that's really not consistent with a person who values their life. No way possible would I do something like that today without going in with the proper security measures in place. Yeah, when I started boxing, I went to the YMCA when I was 11 years old. And they laced me up and I knocked this dude out, the best guy that was in the gym at the time. And he was in my weight class. And well, actually, no, he wasn't in my weight class. He was like a weight class above me. And I knocked him out. I hit him in the nose, blooded his nose. And coach got mad at me. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Are you crazy? So I just felt like I had to whoop somebody to really show that I belong. So I put a whooping on him. And after that, about 2 weeks later, I entered my first tournament. And I knocked the dude out in the first round. Gave me a trophy. And grown folks were cheering. And I was like, damn, grown folks actually cheering for me. That was the first time grown folks like didn't get mad about me fighting. So I was like, this is cool. And then the girls that were in the audience, they liked it. So I was like, I got to do this. And so for the next several years, I continued to fight. And that really kept me out of a lot of trouble too. I still got in a fair amount of trouble, but for the most part, I stayed out of trouble because I was boxing. And that's something that I like to pass on to people all the time when they have children. It's very, very important to get your kids involved in extracurricular activities because, like they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. All of us as human beings, we love attention. People like to be recognized. Even the ones that say they don't. People love to be recognized. Even if they don't want to be on the scene, they don't want to be seen, they want to be recognized when they do things. So if they don't get recognition in a positive manner, they're going to get it in a negative manner. That's why you see sometimes you see the kid that's out there playing ball or whatever, he finds his groove and he says, I've got to do this. And he becomes a star athlete and he puts all of his energy into that. He's getting a lot of positive recognition. By the same token, you can take a young lady who she's smart, she's pretty sharp, looks good and everything. And she may get recognition, but when she starts taking her clothes off and showing more cleavage and showing more butt and being more provocative, dressing more provocative, all the wolves come out. And she gets not only the positive attention, she gets negative attention also. And she oftentimes confuses that with importance. And so you got to be very, very careful. But it's very important that kids get involved, young people get involved in extracurricular activities. Find something that you know how to do well, and that you can be recognized for. Because all of us got something that we can do just as good or better than anybody in the world, and actually get paid at doing it. We just got to recognize what that is. And I can tell you the easiest way to recognize your skill is to understand what comes natural to you that other people find difficult to do. That's your gift. Where I transitioned to hip hop from boxing was that when I was in the 10th grade, me and some buddies were hanging out listening to Run DMC. And it's probably about 10 of us hanging out. And Steve Mayweather suggested that he and I could do what Run DMC was doing. I had never thought about rap. And I listened to their rhyme scheme. I was like, well, it don't sound too complicated. And when the guys challenged us to actually do it, he went into his house and I went into my house for 1 hour. We came out. He said his rap, everybody started laughing. When I said my rap, he started raising the eyebrow. And he was looking around. So it was at that moment that I felt like I had something. So from there, I rapped that same 8 bars that I had about 6 months. Dudes would come to battle me. They come knocking on my door and stuff, trying to battle and stuff. So when I would battle them, I'd bust my little 8 bars, and then I'd be like, oh, you know what, man, you ain't even working. I ain't gonna even mess with you, dog. You know, they didn't know that's all I had, but I had a cold 8. So I would smash on them for that 8, and then I'd like run them off. And after a while, I started like, I was like, man, I think I better start writing a little bit more before everybody catch on to what I'm doing. So I started writing a little bit more. I wrote 12 bars, then 16, and then so on and so on. The little rap, the little rhyme became a rap. And then from there, I started writing more songs, and I started competing in contests. And I started competing at this place called Rhinestone Wrangling in Houston. People used to come from all over to compete. They would come as far as New York and California to compete in this contest. Vanilla Ice used to come down from Dallas to compete in the contest. And I remember him coming like on 4 different occasions. He would come and we'd get in the contest. The contest was called Rap Attack. And it was a 2-part competition. First part, you say your rap, regular rap, and you try to get into the finals, which was the part where you rank on each other. This is the battle part, ranking on each other. So they would always cheer for Vanilla Ice to get into the battle part, even when the rap that he was saying wasn't really all that cold, because they wanted me to smash it. And I smashed it. Now, the funny thing about it was that Vanilla Ice was very, very bold, like very self-assured. And I liked that. I liked that about him. He didn't back down. I mean, he really felt like he was supposed to win this contest. Each and every one of them felt like he should have won. Crowd thought differently. I did too. But that's the story. Yeah. Yeah, the Rap-A-Lot days. I tell you what, in the beginning, it was very, very cool. It was very much, we were kind of like soldiers. It was like us against the world. It was very, very organic. It was like Man, this rap a lot. Get out the way. These ghetto boys, get out the way. Roll the foe. Stay down or lay down. That was our attitude. So, yeah, in the beginning, yeah, everything was real cool, man. You know, before the money, the ego, and all that stuff. It was real, real cool. You know, the way I do that is I always think to myself that somebody is listening to me for the first time. And I want that person to be impressed. I want them to say, oh, like every time somebody hit me for the first time, I want them to be like, whoa. So I'm always trying to convert a man. You know, it's like any top company out there that pays attention to customer service. They give a great experience every single time they put their product out. Because not only do they want to retain the fans that they have, they want new fans. They want the fans that they already have to be impressed and to continue to be impressed. But they also want to convert new fans. And that's the way I approach it. If I get on a song, do a feature, I never just do a feature on another artist's record and half-ass do the song like some artists, like many artists do. Every time I get on that song, I'm going in like I got a gun in my head. Like somebody got a gun in my head saying, this shit better be dope, I'm gonna blow your motherfucking head. That's the way I rap. I go in with that same mentality every time. So I think that when you go in like that, you're willing to give the people more, they'll reward you. And I think you can have a long career, a long successful career, if you approach it that way. Oftentimes, the record is done, I go back in and listen to the whole album. I think I can do that better. Or maybe I should put like a commercial break right here. Or put something in this song. You know, the way I often do, like, even, you know, I think about the song we did on the Geto Boys record foundation album. I said, that was a song that I tried. And I went back in the studio. Like, the song was dope. It was already dope. And I went back in the studio and I was like, ooh. I just added that little thing to it. Just a little bitty thing, you know? And it was one of the things that stands out in the song. When you do that, you pay attention to customer service, I think people will reward you because, and that's why people continue to ask for a new Geto album. They ask for a new Willie D album because they know what they're gonna get. Like, even though it's been a long time since we put out any music, they know what they're gonna get because we've proven time and time again that it doesn't matter if we haven't put out a record a year or 5 years or 8 years, or now we're going to 5 years. When we do put out something, it's gonna be dope.